Hello, thank you for joining me today. My name's Neil Smith. I'm the head of the Dispute Resolution Group here at LexisPSL. Today I want to very briefly introduce you to our brand new cost budgeting calculator, which I'm sure you'll find extremely helpful. It's been quite a while in development, this application, because it's quite complex and it will help you save time and therefore save you money. Most importantly of all, you'll be able to search across all previous cases input by your firm. No other firm can access your information, but you'll be able to use the data previously input to help you prepare future Precedent H's. As I'm sure you'll be aware, there's a heavy emphasis on Precedent H and cost budgeting with the recent case law such as Mitchell. Very important to keep checking in with your cost budget, and if you realise you're going to go over budget, obviously let the court know. So what I'm going to do now is briefly talk you through the various buttons, tabs and functionality of the app. So let's take a look. You can see my screen now. There are various tabs along the top here. When you first log in, you will be presented with this help page, which sets out some of the background information which I'm going to tell you about today, but I just thought that a video and some audio would probably help you out a little more. Okay, so taking the tabs along the top. To get started, when you first use this at your firm, there'll be no cases stored on the system. What that will mean is that the first thing you'll need to do is to create a new case. And there's the tab there. I'm not going to click on that yet. Once you've created some cases within your law firm, you can then see all of the open cases here, all of the closed cases there. Just to put your mind at ease, no other firms will be able to see any of the Precedent H's or data which you have input, so it will only be visible by your firm. Okay, let's get started. You want to create a new case, so we click on here. First thing you'll need to do is complete some case information. I'm just going to put in some sample information so you can see how we go about doing that. So Stone Limited v Medway. We are going to be representing the claimant, but there's different drop down options there. Please note that all the way through we've got information buttons which will help you decide how to fill these items in. So do have a click on those. Just of interest on this point, we also link through to relevant information within PSL. So do keep an eye out for those because they'll help you complete the form. All right, so let's complete a few more things. I'm just going to quickly go through these. The tags. Now this is an important area. If you want to identify cases for future reference, you can put in any tag you like. All of this will be searchable and I'll be showing you that later on in this recording. Quite often you might want to put in the lead fee earner there. You will also need to put in the value of the claim. You'll be aware why this is important, and that's because if the claim is only worth £25,000 or less, you will need to complete the first page of the form. So let me show you here. I'll make this £26,000. Type of the claim. Again, this will be fully searchable, so let's call it breach of contract. You can put in the judge. I'm not going to complete any of the other information because I'll show you this on a pre-prepared case. Once you've done that, you can actually go in to each of these stages of proceedings and add in the relevant fee earners. This is the summary page for our new case which we just set up, Stone and Medway. It's the plus here where you can add in the assumptions which will appear in the final Precedent H. For example, in disclosure, if you want to make it clear that the estimate you provided is on the basis of no more than, say, 1,000 documents, you can add that in there. So let me show you how easily this works in terms of inputting fee earners. So you add a fee earner here for pre-action costs. Click on the name. I will say that this person is Nick Jones. Let's put in the charge out rate, £300. Put in the relevant grade, grade B. Incurred costs already on pre-action costs, already £300. Put in the number of hours here. We think there's going to be another 20 hours, which is a lot for pre-action, but let's put it in anyway. You'll see that it populates across the piece. Now, because I want to keep this brief, I'm really going to canter through some of the important things. If you have got a fee earner in another stage of the proceedings, you can copy in the fee earner there. If we know that Nick is going to be relevant to all of the stage of proceedings, you can copy these details over to all of the different stages of proceedings. You can select one stage, 2, 3, or all. And that will then copy Nick across. It will copy across his charge out rate and his grade. I think this will save you a lot of time in filling in the form. Again, do remember, as I've mentioned already, that there are information bubbles throughout. Click on those to give you more information. Okay, you'll recall that I copied Nick across to all of the different stages. You can access the different stages here, and we will see that Nick appears in disclosure. Don't forget that what I'm showing you at the moment is only the input screens. This isn't the document which the court will see. Okay, I said I was going to show you a pre-prepared case. Let's go into the open cases, which will show you all of the cases which are being handled by your firm. The default position is that the only person who can see those cases is the person who's input them, but I will show you on the action button later on how you can share the case across the firm. So let's go into Stone and Medway. This is the summary screen. So let's go into a short form first of all. Let's go into Smith & Jones. So you can see that because the value of this claim, if we use the pull-out menu on the left, the value of the claim is only £24,000. So we only need to fill in the front page, which is there. So that's an example of a short form. Let me show you an example of a long form. Let's go back into open cases and let's look at Eurotex and Cyberspeed. Let's click into there. If you want to find out what the details of the case are, use the left-hand pull-out. Everything is there. We can tell we're active for the claimant. We've got the reference, we've got the claim number. We know that Kevin Kendall is looking after the matter and it's worth £1 million. All of these terms are searchable. Let's go in to a stage of proceedings so I can show you how the complete form looks. So here we've got our fee earners, Sarah Speed. She's been copied across to all of the other stages. We've got a charge out rate. All of those stages are filled in. What do you do when you want to send this to the court? Okay, go into your action button. Got a few options here. Sharing the case will allow the whole of the rest of the firm to see it. If you lock for review, that means nobody else can access the case while it is locked. If you want to close the case at the end of the case, there's the button there. Please do have a play around with that. All of the other buttons are self-explanatory. Let's generate Precedent H for the court. This pop-up will appear. You've got the option of showing just the grades of the fee earners or the name and grade as well. Let's go here for showing name and grade. You can see that you can output the document as either a PDF or an Excel document. Let's default to PDF. I want to just produce a draft document for the time being just to see what it looks like on paper. When you want to download the document for the court, please click here. The relevance of this is when you download for the court, that will baseline the figures. That means that when you go back in to the case, any alterations you make to the figures, we will see a percentage ticker. I'm going to show you that shortly. So let's download a draft. So it's downloading as a PDF. There's the document, and there is your final output document for the court. And the beauty of this calculator is that you can output this whenever you like, obviously, but you can change any figures on the input screens really quickly and easily. Okay, let's go back. Right, so I said that if you generate the Precedent H for the court, let's group the fee earners to show name and grade. Let's do it as a PDF. If you download it for the court, what that will do is that will baseline the figures. That means when you go back into the case, which I'm going to do here, if you alter any of these figures, let's make this now 5,000, obviously ridiculous. You can see here, look, it's telling us that we're 185% over budget. What does that mean? Following recent case law, following Mitchell and a whole host of other cases, we should get back to the court. How do we know how often we need to check back in with the budget to make sure that we're still on track? We've got a reminder facility here. You can enter periods of inactivity. If nobody looks at the case or enters the case within these preset periods, you can ask the system to send notification email to named parties. That will encourage you to keep checking that the figures you have got in there are correct. Okay, the final thing I want to talk about today, because I'm conscious of your time, is this. You will learn a lot more about this the more you play around with it. This will save time, but I think the most time it will save is that once you've built up a catalogue of cases within your firm, you can search across all of the cases to find a similar case to the one that you've just taken on. That will give you an indication of what might be an appropriate budget. How do we do that? Here's the left-hand pull-out. This now becomes a search function. So you can search across all of the available cases to find out what cases match your new case. So let's put in, I've got a breach of contract claim, let's pretend that it's just come through the door. There we go. It's showing that here we've got a breach of contract claim that has previously been input. I'm going to search, there we are. So that is a similar budget that you can use as the basis for your new budget. How else can we filter search? We can search by value of claim. So my new claim has come in. I know it's £100,000. I'm going to filter the search in this way. So it looks like Hillman and Redmond might be an appropriate budget to use as my new budget. You can also search by tags. You can search by representing. For closed cases, you can also search by costs paid or recovered and the outcome. Okay, so let me just show you how you save as. So let's go into Hillman and Redmond. This looks like an appropriate case. It will make my job a lot easier if I can use this as my basis. I go in there, save as. That will then allow me to go into the left-hand pull-out and enter in the new details for my new case. Okay, the very final thing I want to show you today is at the end of the case, you will obviously want to close it down, and it will then appear at this tab at the top, closed cases. So let's close down Smiths of Slough. We can tell we're at the end of the case because we've been in recently and all of the costs are now incurred. There are no future estimated costs at all. So let's go in, Smiths of Slough. How do we close it down? Go into the action button here, close the case. Beauty of this is that you can record the outcome of the case, whether we won, lost or settled. Let's say that we won this. Costs paid recovered. Somebody's already been in for me and entered this, but we recovered £18,000. You can add whatever comments you want there. So let's close the case. And it now appears in closed cases. And very helpfully it tells us that we incurred 24 grand of costs, we recovered £18,000, we've got a 74% recovery on costs. So I hope you find that helpful as well. So I'm sure you'll want to start playing around with our cost budgeting calculator as soon as possible. Where will you find it? You'll find it on the Essentials tab on the homepage of LexisPSL Dispute Resolution under Dispute Resolution Calculators, and it's listed there as the cost budgeting calculator. Thank you very much.